Hello again in another episode of Gunfire TV. If you are not yet owner of GBB replica, well, this episode may be very helpful for you before you choose to buy one or not. Let's start with what makes GBB replicas more attractive than AEGs or Spring replicas. What could it be? Realism. Yes, boys and girls, we've got blowback. It's not recoil like in real firearm, of course, but the realism of both shooting replica and very often cleaning and maintenance, it's very similar to real firearms. Of course, empty casing does not leave the replica, but using loading, cleaning and using the trigger very often works just like in a real firearm, and that's truly a cool factor. Among gas replicas, there's a thing called joule creep. What it means? It means that when you start using, for example, 0.3 BBs instead of 0.2, of course the velocity will drop, but the joules, the power, may actually increase. Nevertheless, heavier BBs mean more accurate replica and more people admitting their hits. Did I say that they are realistic? Oh, hell they are. Jam. Working again. Did I mention realism? I can't stop laughing anymore. If I told you that GBBs have no flaws at all, well, I would be a liar. Green gas or CO2, well, gas they use is one of the negatives compared to AEGs of spring replicas, because during the winter season when it's very cold, replicas tend not to work properly or not to work at all. If you go with HPA, it vanishes, but then, you have this hose in your magazine, so not everybody likes it. When I was using full auto option on this replica, you may have seen a bit of gas fuses getting out of the barrel. Well, replicas that use green gas or CO2 do not also like a lot of heavy volume of fire. They get colder and colder with every shot. But the cool factor, I think that you could see my smile. Also, with every shot, you lose a bit of volume of gas in magazine. So as for sniper rifles, well, spring rifle or AEG may be a bit more proper because every shot is closer to each other as for the FPS. Also, one of the disadvantages is that parts are not as available as parts for AEGs. That's as for the negative sides of GBBs. But I think this recompensates very hard work everything. You see the smile? So now, what should you focus on before you order GBB? Let's start with a price. Price-quality ratio as for GBB replicas, well, that really works really well here. The cheapest one are usually much worse than high-end replicas, and if you can spare a little bit more, always choose a bit more expensive. Yeah, really, not just because I sell replicas. That really works like that. Do you want green gas or CO2? There is no answer for this question, which one is better, so choose maybe replica that can work with both. Some replicas can work both with magazines that use CO2 and green gas, and usually CO2 replica works also with green gas magazines and not the other way around. Very often the green gas replica will break with CO2 mags, so if you want to use both, usually it's better to choose CO2. Modifications and gadgets. Some models, like High Kappa or many Glocks or AAP, have ability to be reconstructed internally and externally. Some don't. So if you think you want to buy a pistol and create a sniper pistol out of it, or to buy GBB rifle and, let's say, change all the internal parts to make it just perfect, not every model has such an ability. Power factor. So check if the replica you like doesn't have like 500 FPS. Because it's quite more difficult to downgrade gas replica than, for example, AEG or spring replica. Now, magazines. Check if magazines for replica you want to buy are easy to get, because sometimes it's not that simple. Some replicas work fine with many different producers of magazines, so that may be also a factor for you to think about. And lastly, well, and I'm not saying this just because I work for a company which sells new replicas, but avoid buying used GBB replicas. They are a bit more delicate than AEGs and springs in general, of course, in general, and it's easier to buy something that will break very, very fast. So it's better to buy new replica if you're not advanced GBB owner, let's say, and if you are, well, I don't think that you're watching this video anyway, so avoid used guns. I hope this video will be helpful for you, and if it is, leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell, and of course comment. I definitely hope that I did not disencourage you in being owner of GBB replica, because they are really awesome. I don't think that you can find any other airsoft replica that works as close to real firearms as GBB replicas and bring so much joy. So, see you again in another episode of Gunfire TV, and I am going definitely to get a bit more shots out of this just after it gets a bit warmer. Yes, I had some full auto just previously. And the ball stays in backward position after last shot, and you need to smack it like so, just like a real one.